ladies, it is good to have you back.
Good to be here.
And we are missing Angela and Kelly, and we hope that those ladies feel better real soon. Y'all get well and come on back to us. We miss you.
That's right.
Well, we got a heaping, helping a bit of politics to talk about today, both locally and nationally. Let's start with some of the local things that are going on. Big story in the news is about the school buses in South Carolina. As you know, some of our fleet for the public schools are 15 and 20 years old. I saw a news report where some of the children who are riding the buses now, their parents rode those buses because of the age. Yeah, so you can imagine they're elementary school age now, but their parents rode those buses.
Wow.
And so some of the buses, as you know, this year even caught fire with kids on board. So the General Assembly, one of the really good things I thought that they did this year was to put in an accommodation funding for new school buses. I think it was about $20 million to fund the school buses. They were going to use lottery money to do it, but the governor vetoed it.
Why?
Good question.
That's ridiculous.
He vetoed it, and now there is no indication that the General Assembly will come back for a special session to approve it. And of course, the Secretary of Education, well, the Superintendent of Education for the state of South Carolina is saying they need that money to be able to buy the buses that they need. So what's your take? I mean, do you think the General Assembly, the only way that the money can be allocated now is for the General Assembly to override the governor's veto. There's no other way to get that money into the budget. So what's your take? You think that the General Assembly ought to come back, legislators ought to come back for a special session? I
mean, I think that's a no-brainer because, I mean, it's 2017 and the buses are catching fire because they're so old. That's ridiculous. I mean, what about safety? I just can't believe that this is even happening.
Yeah, the veto was a surprise, I think, to the members of the General Assembly. Because, you know, as you know, this is not a state that throws tons and tons of money at public education. So for them to have put it in the budget, the money to buy these buses, was a real good step in the right direction. But instead, the governor vetoed it. Why would that happen?
Well, anytime the governor issues a veto, he usually accompanies a veto message with that. And I have not seen that veto message. Usually there's an explanation contained therein, but I have not seen that. But I do not agree with the veto. I'm with you. I mean, the safety of our children is first priority. And so for a bipartisan General Assembly, and school buses, that's been on the menu for a long time, back and forth. It seemed like every other year we wrestle with the school bus funding. For them to come together in such a contentious year, especially with all the road funding and other issues,
all the other big issues,
to put that $20 million in there. And you know, the lottery was sold to us as a method to fund education. The South Carolina Education Lottery. So we need that money for our children.
Well, I hadn't read the report either of why he vetoed it, but news reports said that he vetoed it because he felt that lottery money should be spent for scholarships.
Only on scholarships.
And not for the buses for K through 12. Well, but you know, they can't live on a unsafe bus because the buses are catching fire. Then
I mean, it's been quite a few fires. It's not just like one or two. I mean, that's ridiculous.
With lots of kids on, you know, and thank God they had drivers that were experienced enough not to panic and to get those children off the bus, because it could have been truly catastrophic. And you know, the idea that, you know, that the buses can wait is, I don't think, a good idea. I mean, we got to make sure when the fleets roll in August,
that's
the hottest time of the year, no air conditioning on those buses.
Just next month.
Yeah, that the kids have a safe way of transport. But that is, unless you know, the General Assembly comes back. Well, I mean, correct that, because some of the members of the legislature are saying that there is money that was leftover funding, sufficient enough to get buses. But the Superintendent of Education said that money is already committed to do other things in those districts, particularly in the I-95 corridor.
The corridor change.
So the choice becomes pretty clear. Do we come back, as you know, do we bring the legislature back or do we let the veto stand until January? Well, January, that's the middle of the school year. The hot months are done.
That's right.
I just, I can't understand why, first of all, it was vetoed. And secondly, you know, why we are not compelling our legislators to come back and to do something about it.
Yeah, the children's safety is of utmost importance. So many people count on that public transportation to attend school,
Yeah, they
and
can.
even especially in the I-95 corridor that you just mentioned, and that's where a lot of the bad buses are.
Yeah, and
of
we've got
course.
a good number of them in Richland 1. I was surprised to see that the number in the fleet that's over 15 years old.
So even if the General Assembly were to veto it, how soon will they get new buses? I mean,
Well, if they
governor
came back,
vetoed it.
yeah, if they override the veto,
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
money would flow immediately.
Oh, immediately.
Immediately, so that, you know, from what I understand, the buses were already on order, and
Wow.
and now, you know, they're just waiting to get the money resolved. So,
Yeah, well, we need to do that.
it's interesting to me what people protest about and the things that we don't protest about, because it would seem to me that every PTA across the state of South Carolina for public schools would be, you know, sending letters protesting at the State House,
Yes.
trying to make sure
Absolutely.
that their legislators knew how important this issue was. And even though it is a single issue and it will cost money to bring legislators back, it's still important to get them back to
That's
make
true.
sure that money
Well, and
is
with it
there.
being the summer months, maybe the word isn't out like it would be if school was in session and they could be informing the parents.
Yeah.
And they have email and a lot of things they didn't have when my mama was in the PTA.
Yeah.
But I do hope that they'll get that resolved and get that money for those new
I hope
buses.
so too,
I hope
because
so.
the fire is one issue, but then the breakdown of the buses is yet another, because
I just can't even believe that this is the issue.
it really
Wow.
is. Buses break down, kids are late to class,
Yep.
and they miss that instructional time. So and in rural areas where there's longer routes
That's
to
right.
get to the school, it's more prevalent. And like
It
you
is.
say, in the corridor that already has a lot of issues
Right.
economically. So.
And a lot more needs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So hopefully we can get that taken care of before August. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I'm a single mother, and I was the main one working, so I never thought that I could go back to school, you know. My sister, my mother, everybody wanted to help me with my kids. I could not have gotten my diploma without my family.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Well, welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. It's summertime and folks are a little more leisurely.
Yes, indeed.
So it looks like beach umbrellas, hammocks, table tennis, checkers, a lot of other fun and games are scheduled to arrive at the South Carolina State House soon. So the Mayor of Columbia, Mayor Benjamin, has gotten some grant money. The approval has already taken place to create the front porch concept at our State House. Now, ultimately, this could require legislative approval, and already some state lawmakers are balking and saying that they don't want to see it happen. What do you ladies think?
Well, for me, I think it's a great idea. I was reading where Mayor Benjamin was saying that, you know, we accommodate the Black Panthers, we accommodate the Ku Klux Klan, and why can't we accommodate families? I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it to bring a little fun to the State House. I think it's a great idea.
I don't. You know what? I understand the argument of making the State House grounds more family friendly. I can certainly put a few benches out there so that people who need to sit can do that. I think that would make it far more friendly. I honestly, you know what? The State House decorum, to me, is one that we ought to think about as law. These are where lawmakers come together to decide the political fate of the state. And while it is designed to accommodate protest of all kinds, and we should when we don't agree politically or with a particular law, I don't know, the hammocks and the table tennis, and you know, in Richland County alone, they just spent or are finishing spending over $50 million in bond money to renovate the parks in the county. The city is invested millions and millions of dollars doing the same thing to the city parks. So why are we trying to make the State House a park when we have invested millions of taxpayer dollars in parks in literally in every community? So bring those parks to where you want them to be standard-wise, and put those things there, and let the State House be used for the political process, because people need to understand, in my opinion now, that the best way to be friendly to families is to pass good laws. And if you want to be a friendly family State House, then pass good laws that support families. Putting a hammock on the State House grounds is an illusion that everything's hunky-dory and this is a great fun place, when sometimes you need to go and take to task your legislators, and protest is the way to do it. Whether it's the Panthers or the Klan, everybody has a right. I just think it diminishes the importance of the State House.
I agree with that, but I do think there are some family-friendly elements to the State House. I mean, I have seen many a school bus full of children disembark and go around the State House and look for those stars where you know, the cannonballs hit during the Civil War. Some very important monuments there, and also inside the State House where anybody can go and get a free tour, talk about all the paintings and all the history. The restoration of the State House is very fascinating. I mean, that granite, that blue granite, which is the state stone, is so deep underneath. At least when I was a child, they told us on tour that they had not found the bottom of it. Maybe they have since. That's been a while. But you know, there are some opportunities for families to go and have some activities that honor and respect, I think, the decorum that you mentioned. But hanging hammocks and
table tennis.
I don't know that that's the place, but I like putting it in the parks. Here.
I mean, because we're already, as I said, we're investing millions in the parks. And
well, we need to be investing millions in the water system. Have brown water coming out my tap today, but that's another show.
That's another show. But you know what? Some people, and I'm just playing the devil's advocate, some people say that, you know, made the argument that you're making, Jessica, that the State House belongs to everybody. And it does. I mean, it is the state's capital. But again, I just feel like, where do we draw the line then? Most of the time when people are at the State House, it's about touring, it's about understanding the history of the state, it's about understanding how laws are made, and I think there ought to be a place for that. That's important enough for that place to be specifically for that. Now, I have some issues with some of the monuments on the State House being historically accurate. I'm not saying take them down, just put the truth on the monument. But as far as putting recreational things on the State House grounds of the Capitol, I don't think that's a good idea. And it may not come to pass, because I understand that
there is a State House committee.
There is a State House against it or something.
I think they had like 1,200 signatures of voting against it.
People are against it, so it'll be interesting. And then like I said, where do you draw the line at? What you know, who's to say? Suppose they want pole dancers on. Some people think that's you know, where do we draw the line at recreational stuff? I mean,
that's true.
Then we're getting sued because the pole dancers want to have a pole. They want to slide down the pole of the park.
I think that's...
It could happen.
Yes. Well, let's maintain the decorum
of the State House.
At the State House.
All right. Well, maybe we're getting silly. So y'all stay with us. We're gonna take a little break, and we'll be right back.
What if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow.
My name is Sydney,
and I'm your dividend.
Well, welcome back. It wouldn't be a television show without a little dose of our president. And needless to say, there's lots to talk about with President Trump. It seems that no matter what happens, he cannot resist the urge to tweet. And his staff, his team of close advisors, even Republican members of Congress have publicly stated that he needs to stop with the tweets. But he continues to tweet. Sometimes they're real mean tweets. Sometimes they're false tweets. And sometimes you wonder whether they're real distractions. I've been noticing people on Facebook say, stay woke, because they're trying to take your focus off of what's important and get engaged in these tweets. But tweeting becomes a way of communicating for the president. He uses his personal Twitter account and he uses the official POTUS Twitter account to send out his tweets. He does what he wants. He does what he wants. And some people really honestly say it's unprofessional and it's unpresidential. So, you know, where are we now? I mean, are we in tweet land forever? I mean, will this ever stop? And what do you think about the president's tweets? Maybe, you know, maybe it's a good thing. I doubt it, but what do you think?
Well, I think he feels like a lot of times he doesn't get a fair shake in the mainstream media, and a lot of times he doesn't.
You really think?
And
okay,
so a lot of times he does not. I don't think that's in question. And so when he feels like he needs to make a point to the American people, he now has this ability to communicate directly with them. I'm not going to say that your statements you just made aren't necessarily true.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think it does get out of line. And as somebody who has worked as a political operative with campaigns and candidates on all levels, we always laugh and say, you never let your candidate have his Facebook password, Twitter password, same kind of thing. Because you can get these knee-jerk emotional reactions that aren't very well thought through.
Especially at 3 in the morning or 5 in the morning.
Right. So, you know, from our standpoint, that's something that we always laugh about, try to maintain when we're in that situation with a client. And he is a little combustible.
A little. But anyway.
So anyway, I think it's good for the President of the United States to be able to have that communication directly with folks. I don't think that the messages are always great that come from our president, and certainly not always presidential.
Well, I know, like, Obama, I don't think the media was always kind to Obama. He never tweeted. At least I didn't see a tweet. I mean, I don't think he
had a Twitter
ever
account. It wasn't as active.
One, but it wasn't used the way President Trump is using his.
No.
I mean, did you see just his tweets this past month in June? I'm not even talking about the Mika Brzezinski tweet, which really blew everyone's mind, which I thought was interesting. But the CNN tweet where he kind of altered the video of him years back doing a wrestling kind of spoof, and then he put the logo of CNN on the person that he was sparring with, and he beat him down. I mean, and you know, it is very much so unpresidential. And at some point in time, they're gonna have to reel him in. I don't know what it's going to take.
Well, I want to see who's reeling him in.
It's going to take the Republicans.
They're going to have to strap him in that captain's chair. But
see, that's scary. That no one can reel him in. That, you know, that he tweets. Listen, whenever they had the episode over in London, he doesn't like the mayor of London, and I think seven people were killed by some semi-terrorist type of action, and he tweeted the nastiest remark. It was terrible, and it was like, you know, he's pathetic. He doesn't know how to protect his people, and you know, we were a few weeks later in a very similar situation, and I mean, that is aside from being unprofessional, it alienates us from the rest of
Right,
of
it's
the
not
world.
diplomatic.
It is worse than not diplomatic. It's scary because he is the president of the free world, and his statements matter. And while you might argue that, you know, it's good for him or any president to have a direct pipeline to the people, and maybe that's true, but it has to be used responsibly. It's like drinking. You know, you can't just drink and drive. And he's drunk under the wheel of his Twitter account. And it's like every day you have to wonder what he's going to say and who he's going to insult on Twitter. And some people say that it's really just a distraction, that he's doing that.
Yeah, because what happened with the investigation with the Russians?
See,
and
that's what
It's ongoing.
That's what they say. It's a distraction to keep our mind off of the asking the right questions about the investigation. But you said something interesting that I think is worth us talking about a little bit. You said that the media really isn't fair to him. You really believe that? That the media
To some degree.
Just give me like an example. I'm trying to...
You know, there are some good things that have happened, and they don't get the coverage that they should because all the focus is on things like the mean tweets and, you know, how much Ivanka's shoes cost. And, you know, I feel like there are a lot of mainstream media outlets that aren't giving him a fair shake.
So these good things that are happening...
Some criticism is deserved.
I'm just
Let me
trying
just
to
put
think
that
of
out there.
some of them
Some of
good
the
things.
criticism is deserved. I
Yeah.
think some of the tweets are out of line. I agree
Yeah.
with you on that.
Yeah.
But this is he feels constantly attacked by the media, and he feels like, you know,
The
he
fake
can
news.
communicate
The fake news. Yeah, that's what he
Yeah.
called it. Even when he's putting out the fake news in his tweets. And then he, you know, the truth of the matter is everything a president does, particularly the president of the United States, is news. It's news. So if he tweets something ridiculous, that is news. And he continually
If he tweets something perfectly credible, that is news.
Absolutely.
It's all news.
It's all news. So you cannot erase his negative behavior when he's brought it on himself. I mean, if he wants people to talk about whatever good things he's doing, and I'm wanting to hear more about those good things, then he can't continue to make these crazy tweets.
Right.
At 5 in the morning.
That should be the focus of his tweets.
Right. Instead, if he's doing, because
Instead of attacking
people,
folks.
Yeah.
Media,
other
world leaders.
And then we're not supposed to notice that he's doing it. We're supposed
No,
to
he
make
wants
an
he
excuse.
wants people to notice.
It's a double standard. If any other president, particularly the last president, would have acted the way this president is acting now, they would have, believe me, they would have already started impeachment proceedings. I remember when
They
President
talking
Obama,
about that with him too.
President Obama wore a beige or tan suit. Do you remember that? To a briefing with the press, and they went crazy over, and the Republicans in Congress were in an uproar because they said he was unpresidential for wearing a tan suit instead of a dark suit. And I'm like, this is nothing compared to it happened. Google it, and it was a news cycle for a day or more. And here this man is doing tweeting all kind of nasty things, not only about people in this country, but about allies. And I just think at some point we have to care more about America than the politics in America. And we have to just do what we tell our kids. This is not right. This is not right. We cannot make this right. It is wrong, and he needs to be called for it. And the press is reporting it, but again, there's this stoking against the press because they're fake news, fake news, fake news is what he's telling everybody. And some people really are believing it, and it's sad. It's going to destroy this country if we don't stop.
We do. I think we need a more civil discourse.
Absolutely.
From him on down, and he is the leader.
He is the leader.
So that's where it needs to start.
Yeah.
So Trump, stop tweeting. We'll be right back after this.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. We want to congratulate you, Wendy, on winning the June 20th election.
Thank you.
To the House of Representatives. I missed your oath of office ceremony, but social media. I'm sorry.
Talk about social media, right?
Yeah, social media was blowing up with pictures.
Oh, yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah.
It really was. It was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.
Well, I was there.
Yeah.
In my
Yes,
little
you
elephant
were.
scarf.
Yes, you were. That's all right.
Beside my friend.
True bipartisanship,
yes,
right?
Beside my friend. He was the new chairman of the South Carolina Democrat Party tribe.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful ceremony.
Thank you.
And we're
being
so
excited.
happy, so excited for you.
I am too. I was amazed at the number of people who took the time in the middle of the day.
It was full. It was packed.
Yeah, it was packed.
Standing room on.
Standing
In the balcony
Wow.
too. Yeah, it was
It's
really
amazing.
really nice, and it goes to show that again, people are interested in their government. They want people who relate to their issues, and I hope I can live up to their expectation. But for that moment, it was like I was in awe just of the people and of
Well, it's
spirit
well
in
deserved.
them.
You're already doing stuff for the community. You give scholarships every year. I mean, you're always giving to the community. So I'm so excited. This gives me faith in politics.
well, thank you,
Yeah.
Jess, because we can tear it down on this show, can't we? We can tear political faith down. But you know what? I think what I'm most excited about is the opportunity to really make a difference. People say that you don't have to be elected to be able to impact, and that is very true. You can work in the community, you can work in church, you can work in your family and make a difference. But if you get good, strong leadership in public policy, you can change the lives of millions of people. And there are very few opportunities to do that legitimately. And so to be able to represent the people in District 70 is an honor for me, and I am looking forward to rolling up my little sleeves and going to work in January in the State House. Actually, it started
Right
already.
now.
Yeah, it started already. Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. So to all those folk who came out, and to you, Donna, and to you in your absence, because I know your spirit was with us.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. Well, believe it or not, ladies, that completes our show today. We hope that you all enjoyed it and that you learned something that really empowers you and enlightens you.
And you can watch IMARA Woman magazine anytime online at imarawoman.com.
And don't forget to like IMARA Woman Magazine on Facebook and follow IMARA Woman Magazine on Twitter.
Well, until the next time, peace and blessings.